Mataji, I thought we were doing Sanskrit class.
This is a shloka class for Srimad Bhagavatam shlokas, which were often quoted by Srila Prabhupada.
Mataji, 7:25, we will start.
Okay, sure.
Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Sukha Sagari Mataji, can you hear me?
Hare Krishna, Vinita.
Yeah, it's 7:26.
Okay, Mata. Can you see my screen, everybody?
Yes, Mataji, we can see.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome to the call. And as always, today we'll be learning one more shloka from the Srimad Bhagavatam, which was often quoted by Srila Prabhupada. And so any volunteers who would like to recite the invocation prayers, please? Okay, if nobody is available, let me go ahead and recite. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, let's move on to the verses which we learned the last week. So this was one verse we learned last week. Anybody would like to recite this verse? Oh, today it appears people are on a silent mode. Okay, let me go ahead.
I can recite. This is Mukund.
Okay, go ahead, Mohan.
Okay, Mataji. Navyadvachaschitrapadam hare yasha jagat pavitram pragrihita karhichit tadvayasam tirtham ushanti manasa nayatra hamsa niramantya kshayaha.
Jai, it's a tough one, right? But you did a good job of it, Maybe we should just, all of us, should again recite it. I'll go line by line. Mukund, do you want to volunteer?
Okay,
Or anybody else who would want to volunteer? Okay, Mukund, go ahead. Nayadvachaschitra padam hareryasho.
Nayadvachaschitrapadam hare yasha.
Nayadvachaschitra padam hareryasho.
Nayadvachaschitrapadam hare yasha.
Jagat pavitram pragranita karhichita.
Jagat pavitram pragrihita karhichita.
Jagat pavitram pragranita karhichita.
Jagat pavitram pragrihita karhichita.
Tadvayasam tirthamushanti manasa.
Tadvayasam tirtham shanti manasa.
Nayatra hamsa niramantyu shikshayah.
Nayatra hamsa niramantya shikshaya.
Tadvayasam tirthamushanti manasa.
Tadvayasam tirtham shanti manasa.
Nayatra hamsa niramantyu shikshayah.
niramantya shikshaya.
Nayatra hamsa niramantyu shikshayah.
niramantya shikshaya.
Nayadvachaschitra padam hareryasho.
Nayadvachaschitrapadam hare yasha.
Jagat pavitram praganita karhichit.
Jagat pavitram pragrihita karhichit.
Tadvayasam tirthamushanti manasa.
Tadvayasam tirtham shanti manasa.
Nayatra hamsa niramantu shikshayaha.
यत्र हंसा निरमन्त्य शिक्षयाः.
Beautiful, very nice, Mukund. Okay, anybody at least looking at the pictures can identify what is the first picture?
First picture is the swan.
And what is the word for it here?
It is Hamsa.
And what is the second picture?
It is a crow.
And what is the word for it here?
I don't know.
Anybody wants to take a guess?
Vayasam.
Yeah, Tadvayasam Tirtham, pilgrimage of the crows, right?
Oh,
Like how
Nitayasam. I don't know.
हंसा न यत्र हंसा.
Yeah, Hamsa is a swan. Yeah. I was asking about the crow. So pilgrimage of the crows, like how Prabhupada translates it. Such a strong, kind of, it always stuck my mind when I tried to memorize the shloka a few years back, like pilgrimage of crows. I mean, that's like, I don't know, it's such a dramatic phrase. I always felt like that. Yeah. Nayad vachas chitra padam harer yasho jagat pavitram pragranita karhichit. So, what is the use of chitra padam? Nayad vachas chitra padam. So beautiful vocabulary, like nice flowery words. If it is not singing, harer yasho, and if it's not singing the glories of the Lord, jagat pavitram pragranita karhichit, and it's not doing any benefit, jagat pavitram, to purify the souls, the human beings. So such a literature is considered as Tadvayasam Tirthamushanti Manasa. So it is considered a pilgrimage of crows. And what happens? Nayatra Hamsa Niramantushe. So all these, the Hamsas, they don't reside here, but where do they reside? In the upper, transcendental realm. So they don't take to this kind of literature, which may be very flowery, bombastic language, and, all kinds of flowery language and everything attached, but it's not singing the glories of the Lord. So, and doing anything good, Jagat Pavitram Pragranita Karhichit, doing nothing, in fact, very little for the Jagat Pavitram purposes. So what is it? It is considered as a pilgrimage of crows, for crows. Like we see in the pictures, this crow is, you see, in a dirty place, right? It goes and tries to pick food from there or whatever he can find, he or she can find. But these hamsas, the swans, it is said that, they can even separate milk from water, right? So they know exactly how to grasp the, things of purport and importance, and they only concentrate or they only meditate on those. But then the crows, you can find them in all filthy places, trash bins and things like that. Very, very emphatic verse. And like I had mentioned last week, the next verse, 1511, is also, about the literature, or like, transcendental literature, how it is written, or, about the grammar or how it is done. So it's like, I find these two words like twin verses. So this is telling that, literature may have very flowery, bombastic language, but then what's the use if it doesn't glorify the glory, glorify the Lord and his activities and pastimes. And the next verse, which we are going to see today, will say that even though the literature, transcendental literature, which is actually speaking glories of Lord Krishna, has some mistakes, it should be taken as such. So they kind of, two sides of the same coin. So one is saying that it could be all perfectly, grammatically right and everything, but what's the use? But then the other verse says that there could be mistakes in it, but then the realizations, could be like simply transcendental. So even, like great devotees take to such literature, even though there may be some mistakes here and there. So that is what the next verse. Oh my God, I gave it away this time. Let's see. Okay. Anybody would like to recite this verse now? Any volunteers? Babna Mataji, please go ahead.
Mataji.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that was.
Isha Mataji.
Okay, yeah, Isha, you can go ahead, and then Babna and Charu Mataji can try.
Nayad Chas Citra Param Here Yatsa Yajat Pravatram Ganata Karavitit Tadvasyam Itam Usti Manisam Asya Na Yatrahamsa
Niramantyushikshaya.
Nirmantra Sikshaya.
Great try, Isha. Thank you so much. Yeah, 3 participants. Bhavna Mataji, please go ahead and
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
न यद्वचश्चित्र पदं हरेर्यशो जगत्पवित्रं प्रगृणीत कर्हिचित् तद्वायसं तीर्थं विशन्ति मानसा न यत्र हंसा निरमन्त्य शिक्षया. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Charu Mataji, please go ahead and recite.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
न यद्वचश्चित्रपदं हरेर्यशो जगत्पवित्रं प्रगृणीत कर्हिचित् तद्वायसं तीर्थमुशन्ति मानसा न यत्र हंसा निरमन्त्युशिक्षयाः.
Beautiful, Mataji. Thank you so much. Let's, the others who have raised hand, will perhaps do the next verse, which we learned last week. That was a verse glorifying whom? Lord Ganesha, right? Because it was Ganesh Chaturthi that day. And remember, we learned this verse from the Brahma Samhita. We kind of, took a little diversion and we learned this verse. So anybody would like to recite this verse from the Brahma Samhita? Yeah, sorry, you had already raised the hands. Bharat Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Thanks, Mataji. Yatpada Pallava Yugam Vinidhaya Kumbha Dvande Pranam Samisa Ganadhiraja Vignan Vihantum Alamasya Jagatrayasya Govindam Adi Purusham Tamham Bhajami. Thanks, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Okay, let me just recite it once if it, may help. Some people have joined newly. So, Yatpada Pallava Yugam Vinidhaya Kumbha Dvandve Pranama Samaye Saganadhirajaha Vignan Vihantum Alamasya Jagatrayasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yatpadapallavayugam vinidhaya kumbha dvandve pranama samaye saganadhirajaha vignan vihantum alamasya jagatrayasya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Yatpadapallavayugam vinidhaya kumbha dvandve pranama samaye saganadhirajaha Vignan vihantum alamasya jagatrayasya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Anybody would like to recite now? Okay, Samskriti, go ahead.
Yatpadapalava-yugam vinidhyaya kumbha dvande pranama samaye saganadhirajaha vignan vihantam alamasya jagatrayasya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami.
Jai, very nice, Samskriti. Yeah, Bhavna Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mataji. यत्पादपल्लवयुगं विनिधाय कुम्भ द्वन्द्वे प्रणाम समय सगनाधिराजा विघ्नान् विहन्तुमलमस्य जगत्त्रयस्य गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Preeti, is that you? Go ahead, Preeti.
Yatpadapallavayugam vinidhaya kumbha Dvandve pranama samaye sa ganadhiraja Vignan vihantum alamasya jagatrayasya Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami.
Yeah, thank you so much, Preeti. Anybody would like to, try to understand what this verse means? Any words that stand out to you, especially this picture to the bottom right? this kind of, pictorial representation of what this verse is trying to convey. So if it gives us any clue of, what is happening in this verse, anybody would like to see if they can recognize a few things. Yes, two people have raised their hands. Preeti and Bhavna Mataji, you can take turns and try to share.
Yeah, Bhavna Mataji, you want to go?
Mataji, you can do first.
Okay, I thought of telling the whole meaning. Okay. So, so Ganesh actually receives this power to do the Vigna Vinasha, which is the removal of obstacles by the mercy of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So he's the Adi Purusha, and he's the one who's helping him do the. He's the Vinayak. Ganesh is Ganadi Raja, and he's getting all the power to do this Vigna Nash only through the mercy of Govind. He keeps the foot of Govinda on his tumulai. That's how Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati writes.
Yeah, Jai, very beautiful. Bhavna Mataji, would you like to share?
Yes, Mataji. In the first line, like Yat Pad Pallava Yugam Vinidhaya Kumbha means Pad means the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and Vande Pranam Samayasa Ganadi Raja means Lord Krishna is paying obeisances. Ganadi Raja means Lord Ganesh. He's paying obeisances pranam to Lord Krishna. Vignan Vihantum Alamasya Jagatrayasya means Vignan means all the means obstacles in the path of bhakti that we perform. So obstacles came in that. So Lord Ganesh get the benediction from Lord Krishna to remove that obstacles from our life so that we can perform our bhakti well. And Jagatrayasya means all the this Jagat means that, like you told, Bhur Bhuva means three are there. So yeah, so as every obstacles that are there in this three material world, so it will be removed by the power of benediction that Lord Ganesha got from Lord Krishna. Govinda Madi Purusham Tamham Bhajami. So means we we worship that Lord Krishna, to whom Lord Ganesha also worship.
Yeah, so nice, Mataji. Thank you so much, both Preeti and Bhavna Mataji. Yes.
Thank you,
Just
Mataji.
one. Sorry, anybody had a comment? Okay, just one thing I wanted to point out. If you see Kumbha Dvandve, there is a hyphen in the middle. So this is like a compound word made out of two words. So this should be actually recited together like Yatpada Pallava Yugam. This is like one composite word, like they say, or compound word. I don't exactly remember what it's called. And then Kumbha Dvandve. So Kumbha Dvandve is like, how Preeti and Mataji, Bhavna Mataji were explaining, like the tumuli, the protrusions on the head, those are called the tumuli, or the Kumbha. Dvandve is like two, they have two protrusions. Ganesha has two protrusions on the head, and that is Pranama Samaye, while offering obeisances. What happens? Yatpada Pallava Yugam Vinidhaya. So at that time, he takes his, the lotus feet, Yatpada Pallava Yugam. The lotus feet of the Lord are actually touching those two protrusions. Kumbha Dvandve Pranama Samesa Ganadhiraja. So who is doing that? Ganadhiraja, or Ganesha's another name is Ganadhiraja. Then Vignan Vihantum, like Mataji had explained, is the remover of obstacles, Alamasya. So who gives this Alamasya means who gives this capability or this power, to destroy all obstacles for all the three worlds. And that is given by none other than Govinda Madipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. And I offer my respectful obeisances to Govinda. That's what this verse is meaning. So if you kind of remember this picture, in your mind, it may give you some clue as to what the verse is trying to convey, right? Sometimes visuals are easier to remember the content of the verses. And so I thought that would really help. Yeah, moving on to today's verse. And before I move on, actually, I was thinking, like there is this Bhagavatam class, which we're doing chapter by chapter on Mondays. And I was thinking that, when I was listening to last class on Monday, I was like, oh my God, I don't really remember the verses I learned, from the first chapter or second, like so many verses we have learned from the first, second so far. So I was thinking maybe one day we should do some revision, of the verses which we have learned previously. I thought that may really help us. So I hope everybody's okay with that, right? At least once in a while, we should go back and revise the verses which we've learned earlier, right? Okay.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Oops. Just give me a minute. I was supposed to remove this from the first screen. Okay. So this is the verse for today, which we're going to learn. Like I said, this is a twin verse, which goes with 1.5.10. So any volunteers who want to recite after me? Yeah, Preeti Mataji has raised her hand. Preeti, are you okay?
Sorry, Mataji, I can put my hand down, but I can definitely repeat. Yeah. Or if someone,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not sure, if you, I thought maybe you did not lower your hand, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I didn't lower my hand yet.
Okay, sure. Yeah, if you're okay, then you can recite. I don't have. Tadvag visargo.
Tadvak visargo.
Tadvag visargo.
Tadvak visargo.
Janatagha viplavo.
Janatagha viplavo.
Janatagha viplavo.
Janatagha viplavo.
Yasmin pratishlokam.
Yasmin pratishlokam.
Abhaddhavatyapi.
Abhaddhavatyapi.
Yasmin pratishlokam.
Yasmin pratishlokam.
Abhaddhavatyapi.
Abhaddhavatyapi.
Yasmin pratishlokam.
Yasmin pratishlokam.
Abhaddhavatyapi.
Abhaddhavatyapi.
Namanyanantasya.
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 Yashonkitaniyat.
Yasho ankitaniyat.
Yashonkitaniyat.
Yasho ankitaniyat.
Shrinvanti gayanti.
Shrinvanti gayanti.
Grinanti sadhava.
Grinanti sadhava.
So we can recite, like word line by line. Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo.
Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo.
Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo.
Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo.
Yasmin pratishlokam.
Yasmin pratishlokam.
Abhaddhavatyapi.
Abhaddhavatyapi.
Yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi.
Yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi.
Yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi.
Yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi.
Namanyanantasya.
Namananantasya.
Namanyanantasya.
Namanyanantasya.
Yashonkitaniyat.
Yashonkitaniyat.
Namanyanantasya yashonkitaniyat.
Namanyanantasya yashonkitaniyat.
Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhavaha.
Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhavaha.
Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhavaha.
Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhavaha.
Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo.
Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo.
Yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi.
Yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi.
Namanyanantasya yashonkitaniyat.
Namanyanantasya yashonkitaniyat.
Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhavaha.
Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhavaha.
Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo.
Tadvagvisargo janathaga viplavo
Yasmin pratishlokamabadhavatyapi
yasmin pratishlokamabhattavatyapi
namanyanantasya yashonkitani yat
नामान्यनन्तस्य यशोऽङ्कितानि यत्
शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्ति साधवः.
शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्ति साधवः.
Thank you, Preeti. Anybody would like to recite the verse?
Shall I do the full verse once, Mataji?
Yeah, go ahead.
तद्वाग्विसर्गो जनथाग विप्लवो यस्मिन् प्रतिश्लोकमबद्धवत्यपि नामान्यनन्तस्य यशोऽङ्कितानि यत् शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्ति साधवः.
Oh, so beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay. Now let's try to delve into the meaning of this verse. Tad vak visargo. So what does that vak mean there? Anybody? Vak, vachanam?
Words.
Yeah, very good. And visarga? Anybody knows what's visarga?
Like Sarga, Visarga.
Yeah, creation basically.
Okay.
So Sarga is creation by the Supreme Lord. And that's how it's usually understood. And Visarga is creation, the secondary by whom?
Brahma.
Lord Brahma, under the guidance, of Mahavishnu. So it's not like he does it independently. So in this verse, it just is referring to creation like that. Jana, Janata, anybody understand what that means?
People.
Very good. Agha?
Enemy.
Yeah.
Serpent.
Okay. What was that verse? I'm trying to. Viplavo?
Boat. Huh? No. Flower is boat.
Viplava, like I know how actually this is a very silly context I'm trying to give, but if it helps you to remember, when I was in 3rd grade, we used to have this PT classes in which we were, we learned a song glorifying Mother India, like how, so in that, it used to say this, it was in Telugu because we were living in Hyderabad at that time. Viplava Virulu, Viragatrulu, like, what does it mean? Viplava Virulu. I mean, like, does it, like, basically the word Viplavo here is meaning to, like a revolutionary person, somebody who brings about a revolution. So I try to associate that Viplava Virulu. So, something like a soldier at war who's trying to, bring about a revolution like that. So if it helps you in any way to remember, I'd consider, okay, but if it's not helping you, don't bother. So that's how I remember it, but it's not necessary that all of you have to remember that way. So Yasmin Pratishlokam. Pratishlokam means?
Every shloka.
Yeah. Abadhavatyapi?
Abhatta.
Yeah, which has faults in it. But what does it say? Namani? Anantasya?
Unlimited. Yasha is Yasha's.
Yeah, Namani is the Nama, right?
Ananta is unlimited. Yasha is fame.
Yasho Ankit. Yeah.
Shrinvanti Gayanti Grananti.
Yeah, so beautiful. Yeah. So such a Sadhavaha means the devotee. Even though, Yasmin Pratishlokam Abadhavatyapi, even though there are, mistakes there, Tadvag Visargo Janatagha Viplo. So this literatures, this Tadvag, what do they describe? The creation and also Janatagha Viplo. It also removes the miseries, the Agham Dhunvanti Karsneya, like the Papa, like they say, right? There's another verse which we learn in Canto 6. So, wipes away the agham or the, like the sins. Janatagha Viplavo. So it's a revolution, when these books, actually, if you see the introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam, or is it Bhagavad Gita, where Prabhupada describes that this is a spiritual communism, if I'm right, in which he says that, this is what is expected of the world. Like there is this other communism, right, which actually debunks that there is a super, the Lord there. The communists generally believe that, work is worship, like that, right? They just say that you have to work hard and you have to recognize those people who work hard, and then they progress and they become successful in life. So actually, Prabhupada talks about there, he talks about spiritual communism in the introduction. He says that this is the kind of communism, or this is the kind of revolution we want, where everybody, because that kind of this communist theory which we have going on in politics, it still will not bring that equality within the people, because some are more skilled to work better, some are not, and there'll always be differences, even though we try to bridge the differences by saying that everybody is equal. But that's not always possible because of past karma. People come with different baggages, so that will not work in unifying the world. But what will actually work in bringing about unity in this world is spiritual communism, which means that when people understand that I am a spirit soul and I'm not this body, when each and in fact recently we were having this one devotee had come home and we were discussing like how profound the statement, though almost every page of Bhagavad Gita Prabhupada is describing or reiterating the fact that I am a spirit soul, I'm not this body. It takes a lot to actually realize that and put into action, right? So he reiterates almost in all of the scriptures, in all of the books Prabhupada has written, we find this line where we say, he reestablishes this fact that I am the spirit soul and I'm not the body, right? So this is spiritual communism. Prabhupada is in one sense, the spiritual warrior who is trying to bring about this major change into the world. And it's a very beautiful purport he has, given for this verse. When you find time, please do read the purport. How Srila Prabhupada, in a very humble mood, he says that, I'm trying to do this service for the people to bring the actual benefit to the people. And I hope, it makes an effect on the people. So he takes such a humble position, though such a great acharya. He says, there may be mistakes, but then my intent is that people, janatagha viplavu, that they can get rid of their papa, the sins or the miseries, by reading this literature. So this is a big gift for us from Srila Prabhupada, and please try to read the purport whenever you find the time. It's very, very inspiring. So spiritual communism is what we're looking for and what we try to preach, because that is the only thing which can bring all people really together in the world. Other things may create more divide, more differences. So, and that's natural, if you're trying to say somebody who may not have all the skills and somebody may be more skilled, because Krishna has bestowed all this, and you try to equate them and say, hey, no, you can surely reach up there, it's not a big deal. You may push that person to such a point, trying to bring them on an equal level that the person may actually not be happy in what he or she is doing. Currently, that's what they say, right? No child left behind, and all are equal and everything like that. So they try to bring everybody to the same level, but that does not work in all situations. It leads to a lot of stress problems and other things, right? In people who may not be, they may be good at something else, but that is not recognized. Something else is recognized as a strength. So yeah, this is the actual thing, like when we realize the true education is that we are the spirit soul and not the body, that one will actually unite people. So imagine everybody thought the same, there would be no war, right? No. Prabhupada mentions the war between China and India. He says that is for a piece of land which is not even cultivable. So what are they fighting over? It's not like it's some great treasure cove or something where there's a lot of gold and diamond mines or something. So it's some land which is kind of barren and you cannot even cultivate anything in it. So what are Indians and Chinese fighting? And he says that thousands of years back, there was no such fighting because they never had this difference that you're an Indian, I'm a Chinese, like that, because God consciousness was prevalent. And now he says that some parties, some forces are trying to actually spread this fact that there is no God. So because of that, all these differences are cropping up. But when we, are aware of this fact that we are the spirit soul and our duty is to, bhakti, devotion towards Lord, then all these differences will disappear. We won't have this unnecessary wars and unnecessary struggles and, like he said, she said, I did, you did, all those things. So yeah, very beautiful purport. Please do take time to read it. And let's go on to the meanings. Any volunteers who want to, read the synonyms? Okay, if no, okay, Isha, go ahead.
Yes, Mataji.
Mm-hmm.
That vocabulary. Vishakwa.
Visargaha.
Visargaha. Creation. Janata. The people in general. General. Agaha. This. Apira.
Viplava.
Vitrava. Evolutionary.
Revolutionary.
Revolutionary.
Yasmin.
Yasmin, in which Pati Shlokam, each transcendental name, etc. Antava.
Abadhavati.
Abadhavati of the unlimited Lord.
I'm not sure what translation you're reading from, dear.
The synonyms.
Yeah, because I have something else on the screen and you are reading something else. So are you looking at the screen and reading, or do you have a book handy on you?
I am looking at the screen.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Sorry. I thought I heard something different. So that's why I was.
So where I was?
Yeah, Abadhavati, irregularly composed.
Api, in spiritual of.
In spite of.
In spite of. Namani. Transcendental names, etc. Antastva.
Anantasya.
Anantasya of the unlimited Lord. Vasha. Yashaha. Glorious.
Ankitani. Depicted.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, sorry, the Y is not kind of very clear, right? It's yet.
Yet. What? Shrinvanti. Do here. Do.
Gayanti.
Do. Sing.
Grananti.
Do you accept?
Sadhavaha.
The purified men who are honest.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Anybody else wants to read the translation? Any volunteers? Okay, Bharat Prabhuji, or who's there? Kabir, do you want to read? Kabir Prabhu?
Okay, Mataji. So the translation?
Yes.
On the other hand, that literature, which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc., the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation from full of transcendental words directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Thank you, Mataji.
Jai. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was just thinking this stark difference, right, between this, even though there are mistakes, these, even though they're imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. But then we saw that other verse, right, in which it says that, although, Chitrapadam Hare Resho, very beautifully, very, ornamentally described language is being used, but then that is considered as a pilgrimage of crows, right? So much of contrast between the two verses. So this kind of really, when I was learning these verses, this really stood out to me. So perhaps you can also try to compare, and maybe that'll help us to remember the verses, right? Okay. Any volunteers who want to recite this verse for today? And then we will close the call after this. Okay. Kabir, Prabhu, you want to go ahead and recite?
Sure, Mataji. Tadvagvisargo janataga viplavo yasmin pratishlokamavadyapi namani antasya yaso kitaniyat shenvanti gayanti grenati sadhava.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. Charu Mataji, please go ahead.
तद्वात् विसर्गो जनताग विप्लवो यस्मिन् प्रतिश्लोकमबद्धवत्यपि नामान्यनन्तस्य यशोऽङ्कितानि यत् शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्ति साधवः. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Very beautiful recitation. Okay. Anybody has any questions or realizations or thoughts you would like to share? Okay. I think everybody is very happy and contented. So I'll just recite the verse a couple of times and then we can recite the Vaishnava Pranam mantras. Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo yasmin pratishlokamabadhavatyapi namanyanantasya yashonkitaniyat shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhavaha. Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo yasmin pratishlokamabadhavatyapi namanyanantasya yashonkitaniyat शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्ति साधवः तद्वाग् विसर्गो जनताघ विप्लवो यस्मिन् प्रतिश्लोकमबद्धवत्यपि नामान्यनन्तस्य यशोऽङ्कितानि यत् शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्ति साधवः. Actually, I was thinking, today is Vamana Dwadasi. Would you like to learn a shloka on Lord Vamana? Do you think you have the time? We can spend 5 minutes to recite.
Sure, Mataji.
Okay, let me try to grab it. It is from the Jayadev Ashtapati, Chalayasi Vikramani. I learned it in the Carnatic style, so I cannot recite it in the Gaudiya style. So I forget the words because I learned it in that particular tune. Let me.
Did I say that when I know that?
Which one?
That one, whatever you said.
You mean? Yeah. Go ahead. Give me just a second. Huh? I'll just try to paste it. I was thinking I will do it. Now this is the verse. This is from, Jayadeva Goswami's work. Like he has written many Ashtapatis, and this is from the Dashavatara Stotra. Yeah, give me a minute, Balavrinda. So this is from the Dashavatara Stotra, and if you all you may remember this Narsimha Pranam mantra which we sing, right? Tavakara Kamala Verena Kamadhuta Shringam. So that is one of the fourth shloka from this Dashavatara shloka. So this actually glorifies the 10 avatars. So this particular verse is talking about the glories of Lord Vamanadev, and today is Vamana Dwadasi. So I thought it'd be nice if we can recite this verse, right? Okay, Balavrinda, go ahead and recite.
Chalayasi Vigramane Balimajudha Vamana Adagari Rajadita Jarabhavara Keshavadrita Vavana Rupa Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Mataji, could I read the meaning?
Yeah, I thought it's a very beautiful recitation, Balavrinda. I thought, we can give some other devotee the chance to read the translation. Is that okay?
Yes,
Okay. So any volunteers who would like to recite after me this verse? Okay, it appears.
I can recite, Mataji.
Okay, go ahead. Chalayasi Vikramane,
Chalayasi Vikramane,
Balim Adbhuta Vamana,
Balim Adbhuta Vamana,
Padanakha Neera Janita Jana Pavana,
Padanaka Nira Janita Jana Pavana,
Keshavadhrita Vamana Rupa,
Keshavadhrita Vamana Rupa,
Jai Jagadisha Hare.
Jai Jagadisha Hare.
Jai, thank you. It's kind of simple, no? Chalayasi means we know, right? By cheating. Chalayasi Vikramane. Who is called Vikrama?
Vamana.
Trivikrama, right? Because he, by tricking Bali Maharaj, he actually puts his foot over all the three worlds, and then he's,
Mataji,
Enema. Yeah.
my brother's name is Vikram.
Oh, great. So today maybe you should tell your brother about the glories of Lord Vamana, right? And remind him what his name actually means, right? So, and ask him to memorize this verse. He'll be happy to do it, right? Because his name is here. Yeah. So, so how he tricked, and he got control over all the worlds. Adbhuta, Balim Adbhuta Vamana. Adbhuta is like, he's a dwarf, but then he does this kind of a feat, right? Suddenly he becomes so huge and large, and he does this big feat, magical feat of, kind of actually putting all his footsteps, he covered the whole world in two footsteps, and what was he to do with the third foot? So like that. So it's Adbhuta, right? It's very, very astonishing Leela of the Lord. Pada Nakha. Pada means the foot. Nakha, Nakham, like we say, right? The nails. Neera. So when the Lord was putting his foot like that, so he pierced, the earth, and then Mother Ganges, she comes out, right? And she flows. Neera Janita Janapavana. So because, the lotus feet of the Lord touched this, Ganga is so pure, right? Janita Janapavana. Keshava Dhrita Vamana Rupa. So Lord Keshava in this, he has come in this form as Vamana Rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Very simple, but very beautiful verse on the whole pastime of Lord Trivikrama. So yeah, let me recite again. Yeah, Preeti, thank you. Chalayasi Vikramane Balimadbhuta Vamana.
Chalayasi Vikramane Balimadbhuta Vamana,
Padanakha Neera Janita Jana Pavana.
Padanaka Nira Janitana Jana Pavana,
Keshavadhrita Vamana Rupa. Jai Jagadish Hare. Jai Jagadish Hare. Jai Jagadish Hare.
Keshavadrita Vamana Rupa, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare.
Chalayasi Vikramane Balimadbhuta Vamana.
Chalayasi Vikramane Balimadbhuta Vamana,
Padanakha Neera Janita Jana Pavana.
Padanaka Nira Janita Jana Pavana,
Keshavadhrita Vamana Rupa. Jai Jagadish Hare. Jai Jagadish Hare. Jai Jagadish Hare.
Keshavadrita Vamana Rupa, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare.
Thank you, Mataji. Anybody wants to read the translation? or I can read, and we will go. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a dwarf Brahmana, all glories to you. O wonderful dwarf, by your massive steps you deceived King Bali, and by the Ganges water that has emanated from the nails of your lotus feet, you deliver all living beings within this world. Jai Vamanadev Bhagwan ki Jai. Okay, we'll recite the Vaishnava Pranam mantra and we'll close. Like we see, many devotees have logged off. It's way late on East Coast, so yeah. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नमः शरण Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. We'll close the call now. Preeti, would you?
Mataji, I'll take care. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thanks to everyone who joined. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Thanks, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.